I want to make some fairly kind of loose and bold marks here. And I've got an interesting little composition as well, which I can put in. I'm going to put the shadows in first. That's going to go there. And this will go back up here. And is that the right place for that? No. Put that there. Maybe the shadow will come all the way across. Then I've got an angle like that. I'm doing a bit of measurement like this. It doesn't make any sense. Just angles of So yeah, I'm looking at abstract shapes at the moment and just piecing together a few bits and pieces. Once they're in place, yeah, there's sort of a reflection here. I'm going to get a bit more blue going in it. At the moment it's a bit too grey. Yeah. So this is that's a fairly abstract composition. I haven't really got a camera anywhere near where my head is to properly say what's going on, but hopefully you can see some similar things over here. Now before I have put in some core colours and things just to sort of get some of those negative spaces and things, but I think I might do that now. I'm going to go straight in. Now I'm going to have to put some new paint out. This old paint. That's maximum blue. Put a little bit of glitter in that. That's quite bright. A bit of that and a bit of this sort of blackish colour. Put glitter in there as well. Grate off a bit. And get some of this paint in. I'm going to use a little bit of thinners as well. And really keep this as loose as possible. We'll use a bigger brush than this. No, I think this will be fine. A little bit of thinners left on the brush. Is that too runny? Maybe we'll find out, I guess. Does that look very blue? And under there as well. I'm going to wander down into here somewhere. Down into there. Good. And we've got another similar size brush. One down. Let's use this for the blue. It's lighter. There we go. These colours are going to be too strong. Hard to tell. Going in there. Also coming out of here.
God bless. Josie's watching again. Says, hi James and Graham, are you there? Yes, I am here, Josie. Hello. Glad it's daffs. Gonna have to watch on catch up though as I'm cooking because Bruce's mum is staying. But like each week we get more of an insight into Josie's life.
Really. Well, I've had the good fortune of having Josie's cooking before, so I can say Bruce's mum is very lucky. I went and did a demo for Taunton Art Society. I was very well looked after. And darken that down a little bit. You can go over the edges a bit too. Put a little dent there. Is that in the right place? Not sure. What's going on behind either. Space here, and then a bit of a light bit, and then another light bit. Some of the dark bits going on. Is that too bold a blue? That's the question at the beginning. Because I can make it duller as I go in. In fact, I'm going to do that a bit. And so I did that perceptual mixing thing the other week with the tulips. I did do that on the live stream, didn't I? I'm going to put some of those. And it's not thick paint at the moment, but I'm going to put some of these pinks in here, just where I can see them, where they seem to show up. There's some of these might be shadows and things I'm not really making sense of. Hey. Okay, I feel like I've got a way in now. Still got my shadow colour here. Let's just make sure everything's accounted for one way or the other. There's that lined up, not quite. There's sort of a shadow in there and a shadow there. These will get darker later on, I think. I'll probably get lighter. Again, it doesn't have to be all sort of super accurate. I'll blur the edges of these a little bit. Now, I've been enjoying working a little bit quicker than normal. It's been quite fun. I'm going to make a yellow here, which is sort of a reflected, yeah, the colour that's reflecting. Maybe I'll pop a little bit of red in it, just a little bit, warm it up. Now if I mix that and some of this blue, I should get a green, but that green when it's in context should look like yellow. Let's see if that works. It's quite strong. No, needs more red in it. Probably too much. Oh no, that's purple now. More yellow in it maybe. Yeah, now if I really look at it, that's about the right colour. Which is interesting. Because objectively, it's simply not yellow.
So what made you go for daffodils this evening?
Well, they're out. So that's always nice to see. And they're colourful and they're translucent. And I think we could do with a bit of yellow in our lives. Brighten things up a bit.
As a painter, do you have a particular colour that you more favour working with?
That's an interesting question because it could apply to a lot of things. So most artists will have like favoured pigments that they use and can achieve the colours they want with their favoured pigments. So I quite like a cadmium yellow, which I am using in this instance, because it's quite opaque. I've only been using the alizarin crimson rather than the cadmium red, which is a cooler red. So yeah, I don't really have favourites, but there's certain utility colours, if you like, utility pigments, which you can use for lots of things. Just get my.
We've had a message from Laura Desart and saying they are out. I guess she's referring to daffodils.
Yes.
Whoa, we still have mounds of snow covering our flower patches.
Whereabouts?
Yeah, whereabouts are you, Laura?
Dundee or something.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to guess across the pond.
I'm going to guess that too. But you guessed it first, so I suppose my guess probably doesn't count now, does it?
The anticipation whilst we wait for a response.
So I'm finding my way into a few interesting little colours and bits and pieces. Once I've got some confidence with them. Oh, that doesn't go there.
New Brunswick, Canada, Atlantic coast.
Never been. Love to go to Canada.
I spent 6 months out there when I was doing my travelling thing.
All right.
Amazing.
Eventually they found you and sent you back.
Yeah, exactly.
So I wonder, I mean, there's so much of it. So where's New Brunswick? I don't expect you to know, Graham.
No, I was actually Googling it as we spoke, because
oh yes, know it well.
next to Maine, kind of near, I say near, 150k outside of Quebec.
Okay. That's quite close in Canadian terms, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It's connected to Nova Scotia.
Ah, okay. Right, but at the bottom. Right. I mean, I've heard of it. Yeah, I don't know where the old Brunswick is. Normally, as an unadventurous Briton, one of the people who stayed. Not my decisions, my ancestors, but there you go. They obviously weren't that adventurous.
There's quite a lot of there's a Brunswick in Ontario.
Right.
But there's no old Brunswick. I guess, you would just call it Brunswick, wouldn't you?
You would, you'd think so. There must be an old Brunswick, otherwise that would just be a stupid thing to call it. But, come on, Graham, get Googling.
In England somewhere, old Brunswick.
Because there's some fairly well-known places where the original place is actually a bit naff. A bit, sort of like a little village, really. And then the new version in the new world has developed into some enormous city, and the old version is a bit shamed almost by its association. Right. And wake up.
Oh, that's really exciting to have somebody from Canada watching.
Absolutely. They're all very, very welcome. It's nice that people are popping in from the colonies, isn't it? No, Canadians are too nice, you see. You can't do that whole ribbing thing. They're not like Australians, who will just go, all right, it's abuse time. We know how to do that. And get stuck into it straight away. They'll go, oh, that's fine. Sorry. Let's be really nice about everything. Okay.
I saw an exchange on Facebook between I think it was a Canadian and a Norwegian, and they didn't agree, and both of them were just like, "I'm really sorry, I don't agree with your with your point of view."
Oh, yes, very
it's
well.
the sort of politest argument.
Well-mannered people. That's all good in my book. I'm wondering if I left my paints in the car. I think I did.
Oh dear.
But there's no harm done because it turns out I've got tons. So, yeah.
I quite like the idea of painting with only a very limited amount of colours.
which is generally what I do anyway.
I love that. We'll laugh about being a colony, but threaten us with US invasion and we'll be very impolite.
Yes, exactly. I could imagine they could almost be belligerent.
Yeah.
You know, and in circumstances like that. Well, I noticed that. I mean, just I hope Canadians realise that British people think the whole thing is just as ridiculous. Like at the coronation, we're all sort of, you know, there was all the pomp and stuff, and the few people who are really into it going, "Isn't this wonderful?" And really, everyone across the whole country is just going, "This is just mad. Do we live here? Is we still doing this?"
Well, there's
They put a funny hat on him and everything. It's so ridiculous.
they were
No one thinks it's sensible or really has that much respect for it. But you've got to do something, and if the alternative is having some kind of unhinged dictator, then I guess having a man in a funny hat that everyone has to answer to is probably not that bad an idea. Anyway, sorry.
There was there's a couple of things that I found bonkers about that. The BBC News spoke about a person's job being turning the carriage wheels from the coronation carriage, which he was being pranced around in.
Yeah.
And they had to turn them 90 degrees every month because they were gold rimmed. They would go out of shape. And it was his job.
It's just madness, isn't it? I mean, it's appalling. And if you have any kind of sense of fairness in this world, you're a Republican. But at the same time, I don't know.
Well, I did like the fact that you were saying
you just get adapted to it, don't you? You just accept these things.
But where you were saying people would just thought, this is mad. They were also going, but we do get a public holiday, don't we?
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, if it's not that madness, it's some other madness. And this is fairly harmless madness, depending on who you're talking to, I guess. But, yeah, it's crazy. I mean, it's, you know, when Prince Philip died, you know, we were told the next day, like all of the TV stations were going, well, of course, we're a nation in mourning now. And we're all going, look, no, you know, these are the British people aren't really like that, you know. And I think the Canadians are much the same. When those London bombings, someone pointed out that, like, you know, it was horrible and people were killed and they blew up buses. But, like, by the afternoon, there's people at the bus stop going, yeah, but where's the bus? I don't know what you can do about people like that, really. I mean, it's sort of awful, but you have to respect it as well. So, yeah. So the nation in mourning thing, it's like, you know. When the Queen died, we sort of expected it, and it was a fairly momentous event, but no one was really in mourning. They've got nothing to do with the rest of us. It's just a bunch of mad inbred Germans who we dress up. It's just the most insane thing. But yeah, so sorry about your money, I suppose. But it's not our fault either. We're all subjects, aren't we? Yeah. Oh, anyway, could discuss that a lot, but. Yeah, it's nice to know we've got that kind of connection with one another across whatever vast distances across this planet we live. That there's fundamental things which join us together and which none of us will put up with. So yeah, very much on Canada's side in recent weeks and months.
I absolutely loved Canada when I visited. Absolutely loved it. Gorgeous place.
That is a striking colour which I'm going to keep, even though it doesn't match these ones, which I'm now going to match. Last of my ultramarine. So where did you go, Graham?
I landed in Winnipeg, and then we drove to Swan River because that's where my girlfriend at the time's uncle lived, and there was a big family reunion for all of them there.
Okay.
And so there was 30, I think, family members that all gathered, and they've got a couple of houses by a lake that was out that way. Then from there, because I was there for that long, drove all the way out to Vancouver.
Okay.
Which took about a week. Over to Vancouver Island, which was stunning and incredible. Then drove all the way back again.
Right.
Stayed with another uncle on what was the lake? I'm gonna have to Google some of this because I can't remember the names of the places.
Well, while you do that, I'm going to get onto this yellow. I'm going to use it the last of my cadmium yellow from last time. And I'm going to have to mix a few of these sort of off-colour
Laura's just said, "Whoa, Winnipeg to Vancouver." Yeah, it was a very long drive, and Saskatchewan is incredibly boring to drive through. You see something in the distance and think, "Wow, there's something there."
There's a thing.
And then about 3 hours later, you're going, "I wonder what it is."
Ooh. Right, got a bit of Indian yellow here. Bit of chrome lemon. It's quite exciting. And what's this? Ooh, cinnabar green. Made of delicious mercury. I might not get that one out. Okay, I want a little array of yellows here. They are. So chrome lemon is going to have some good opacity. It's also going to be on the greenish side. This Indian yellow, rather interesting. I'm going to put it next to the yellow ochre because it looks like that's where it belongs. But actually, it's rather interesting. You put it out like this, it sort of looks browny. See that? That sort of browny colour.
Oh wow!
I'll put some white in it. Look at that. Craziness, isn't it?
Right.
Yeah. I'll put it that side. You can really see it. Let's get some more Indian yellow into that. That's a lovely golden yellow. Yeah, I'm going to put that over here. And oh, there's still a bit of there's a bit of cad yellow left on the easel. I won't need that much. Just for special touches. Right at the end. Okay. So I've got this. I want to mix a kind of a muted yellow grey colour. I'm going to start with a bit of raw umber. There's a bit of yellow left on the knife. Then I can use this black I had, make that a bit greener. There's a dark version. And I'm going to have these wander through the yellows as they go. So there's some of that. I can always mix some more of that. It's going to get a bit lighter. And a bit of that yellow in there. There we go. And that's that, pretty much that yellow I put on here. It works. And this is going to branch into two versions. It's going to branch into a warm version. Let's mix a bit of this. Orangey version here. Yeah, we'll put that this side. A bit paler. Yeah, I've got my greens and my browns. Then out of that are going to come some other colours. Don't need that there. Put that to one side. I've kind of got my orange here. A brighter greeny yellow here. Probably a bit too bright. And then out of that, I think I can start working my way towards some of these stronger colours. Also got you sort of slightly purpley colours, which I will put over here. Too red. There we go. Got some more blue in. So I've got quite a good little colour range now. Yeah, one of these can go a bit grayer. Still on the purpley side. A bit more careful with that one. Bit of green in there, still on the red side. And a little bit of that. Add some light to it. There you go. I've got some lights and there should be something somewhere in between. Okay, I think I'm ready to start putting some paint on now. But I want this to be as loose as I can allow myself to be. Keep going and getting more kitchen towel. I don't bring the roll back with me.
Hope you don't like a jack in the box soon.
Yeah. Okay. So I want to work from my more neutral colours. I'll start around here with the warm ones. And say, well, there's some warm colours in there. This doesn't look very dark. Maybe I don't know if I should be trusting this. How dark it does get. It's a lot darker. There you are. Nice warm brown. This doing. Nope. Get redder. No, it needs to be greener. Okay, we'll look around everywhere for the way these might go. There's going to be some under here. Oh. Is that in the right place? I'm not sure. You can see these daffodils starting to appear though, can't we?
Mm-hmm.
Let's get the excess off that. Let's go back to this green version. That's going to be here. Yeah, something like that. Some of those at the edges of these petals. All of that. Maybe a bit in there. In there. And we can lighten this up a little bit. Maybe that's too much. The problem I have got here is that this this white is very powerful. Oh yeah, it's way too much. Okay, this needs to be looser. Need to be really chucking the paint around here. Probably needs a bit more of that in it too. There we go. Bit of structure in that. More yellow in that. Get the lumps out. Where else? Some in here as well. Trying to enjoy the abstract quality of some of this.
How come you've been quite enjoying the slightly quicker versions then?
I think, yeah, it's a good question. I think it's I'm doing simple little pictures, and I quite like to just sort of get to only at what works and what doesn't work. I'm not trying to sort of make this some standalone work of art. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, it's it's got to have a, what would you call it? Sort of an immediate feedback, if you like. And I'm getting that quickly, and rather than dwell on it or try and fix everything or trying to make some sort of perfect finished picture, I'm just taking my time with, what would you call it? Trying something out, seeing if it works. Stop, reflect on it, move on to the next thing. So I can get more greens into here now. I'm saying this. Got this Viridian out, which is a dangerous colour. I'm going to put some raw umber in it, just to soften it down. Yeah, that's as dark as that's going to get anywhere. Maybe a bit there. Oh, maybe some under here. A little bit of light in it. I've got to be so careful with this white. There you are. Make these colours sort of brighten up and sing a bit. And those shadows down there. This is going to give me room for the bright yellows when they turn up. So yeah, that should be about the same tone as the background. It's quite hard to see just these relationships, and I'm also I'm wandering into a rather vague place. If I bring some red back in here, again, put some more yellow in it. I should have a nice shadow colour for inside the trumpet of this one. Yeah. At the moment, this must look like the most gloomy and depressing daffodil colours you could possibly imagine. Yeah, we'll go further up. Similarly here, when the lights go on, you do a nice job. Where else needs some of that? Needs a bit of warming up. No, that's already dark enough. Okay, what else? Bit around here, got these shadow shapes. They lighten up a bit into the gaps, but no, don't need any green in that. So I don't know if that's making any sense as a viewer. Do you?
I think so.
Let's get some of this orangey one. Let's go here. Where else is that going to go?
I'm surprised at how green it is in comparison to it being yellow.
What, the painting?
Yeah.
Ah, yes. This is the thing. If you darken a green, you will often get a yellow. Context. Cool colour is context. It is very green at the moment, but when there are some oranger colours to go in, but there's also some bright yellow colours to go in. There's bits that aren't green enough here. And it could.
There's that kind of like interesting thing that our brain does and turns things yellow when we see them mixed with alongside other colours.
All colour is contextual. no sort of absolute colour, because it's a biological phenomenon rather than a physical one. The frequencies of light are physical, but how our eye responds to them is, quite a separate matter. So it's very easy to trick the eye into seeing other colours.
I wonder if we should do a little, maybe just sort of 15 minutes, half an hour's worth, 1 week of kind of not illusions that you can play, but
well, I can paint illusions. That could be quite fun. Yeah, I mean, there's a few classics. I think there's a lot that people already know, like.
the people might know them, but not know how to do them.
Right. Yeah. So how to make grey be blue in one side of the picture and orange in the other side of the picture. And you take it out, it's just grey. Yeah, that could be quite fun. Okay, have I gone too far with this? So I'm next I'm thinking actually I can get some of these sort of paler, brighter yellows in. So I want to use a different brush. I think I might use this one. It's already got some blue on it from before, so I'm going to start off with these greeny yellows. There's a little bit there. And the thing is, these have got other colours that stick out over the top of them, so there's a little bit there, a little bit here. Some orange, this is going to come in later on, but first things first. That's an untidy brush. That's going to be more orange as well. I'll come back to that. If I go over here, I've got these. Well, that's going to be more orange as well. Alright, I'll get to that in due course. And here we are. Quite sure if that works. What do we think? Okay, yeah, this is a sort of a lemony. Well, come on.
Manitoulin Island, that's where I stayed.
What island, sorry?
Manitoulin.
Okay. Has our Canadian friend moved on now?
I don't know. The name just came to me. I was trying to search and remember in my brain as to what it was and where we stayed. And yeah, I was there for probably about 3 months.
Okay.
I was helping her uncle build his house, which was quite impressive.
A few yellows there. They should be more golden.
Sorry?
So I was chatting to myself about the nature of some of these yellows. That should be a bit more golden there. And in here. I can exaggerate as well some of these. You're hungry?
Shouldn't be. I did eat dinner before I went out.
Oh, there we go. Oh, okay. And I'm going to go into some of these more warmer, more golden yellows in a few places. Oh, that's too bright. Bit down here. Where else? There we are. Little flick.
Go back to the sort of question I asked earlier about do you have a favourite colour you work with? I would say that based on the paintings that you put up in the shop, you have more of a muted palette that you lean towards.
That's the insult that people usually level at me, yeah.
Insult? Really?
No. It's when people are trying to politely say, they're quite dull, aren't they?
No. Never have I ever said that they're dull.
No. They're dull. They're dull colours, and dull colours is the word you use to describe them. You know, like Farrow and Ball use dull colours. You know, they don't use super bright, high chroma colours. Yeah. So actually, that is my point. Is that dull is the word you would use, but you wouldn't. Yeah, if you're not trying to say your pictures are boring, you'd look for another word, but there isn't one really. So it's okay. You're gonna have to say dull colours.
But it's kind of interesting though, because the painting that I have at home of the skull, the pumpkin, and the candle.
Yeah.
Halfway through painting that, and when we stopped for the break, they're almost neon in the background of it.
Yes.
And it could have been a painting in its own right, just left as it was.
Yeah. So that was where I had to get I had to be working from the highest contrast downwards with that picture in order to get it to land. Yeah, that's sort of a backwards way of working, really. That's better. Right. If I get back to some of these brighter yellows.
Yeah, then not only do we do a sort of half an hour bit of illusions and how to do them, and bright colours. I think that's something that would be quite interesting.
Yeah, that could be. That could be. Right. I've got that orange on. Let's pop a bit there. A bit here. Probably put a bit in there. A bit down there.
Do you find it can be mood dependent as well?
Oh, very much. Yeah, I mean that's a big part of what makes a painting be the painting it's going to be. It's how you're feeling about it at the time, how you're reacting to the world at the time.
Does that make it quite difficult if you're doing a commission?
Yeah, although in a strange way, I kind of just get on with it with commissions, and I generally have no expectation that it's going to go well. What I expect to happen when I do a commission is someone will go, "Oh, I really like your paintings, but I don't want any of your actual paintings. I'd like you to do something different for me." And then I go, right, well, then they're just going to find out that once I've done it, it will be one of my paintings, and they won't like that one either. So, so that's what's going to happen. But if I think I can do a good job of it, I'll do it. And if they don't like it, they don't have to buy it. So that takes the pressure off. And
because I'm kind of intrigued by the
frequently it works. You know, it actually ends up coming up with something, and people go, "No, I do really like that, and now I want to buy it." And always a nice surprise when that happens.
But the commission side of things, I mean, you have no idea how long something is going to take until you start.
Oh, I've got a pretty good idea, because it's, I mean, I think that the fact that this is, isn't it uncanny that, like, for the longest time, every painting would fall into 2 hours? I mean, do you think that was an accident? You know, that's how long the process takes. And so if you employ that process, you can rely on it taking pretty much the same amount of time. It's a matter that whether it's a good painting or not depends on the quality of the decisions and choices you made whilst you were going through that process. Does that make sense?
I think so.
So yeah, I mean, you're asking yourself all these questions while you're painting, and it's quite possible you haven't got good answers for them. So, and then you end up doing a bad painting, of which I have done many. And sometimes they, you know, you make good decisions and it comes out really well.
So what quantifies a good painting for you then?
That's another good question. What makes a good painting? Well,
no, and specifically, I think more as a question as when you have finished painting something,
yeah.
What do you see in that painting to then make a decision on whether it's good or bad?
There's a lot of things. I mean, this is an interesting thing because I've talked about this before. For me to do a painting, I have to want to have the experience of painting it. That's what I get out of it. It almost doesn't matter while I'm doing it if it's a terrible painting or not. Afterwards, you know, other things come into sort of the judgment of it, which is, you know, is it well executed? Does it create the feeling you want? Does it have? Does it hang together? Does it sort of make sense? Is any of it jarring? Does any of it throw you out from what it's trying to communicate? You know, which you can do easily. You know, do you remember Father Ted when he has the dream about My Lovely Horse, the Eurovision song they're going to enter?
Yep.
And he wakes up and says to Dougal, "We've got to get rid of that sax solo." Because everything was fine until then. Then this terrible sax solo comes in, and every artist is perfectly capable of doing their own terrible sax solo, you know, or with the equivalent, and then go, "Why did I do that? It was a terrible idea. It's awful." Right, I'm going to put in some of these violets in here. Once I've done that, when the lights go on, bluer. Gives you a little clue as to the contrast that will jump out later on. Look how out of place that looks when it's on its own. Once there's enough other stuff in there. So this is where I need to be taking my time with it a bit. I don't want to get too bright. just an edge on that.
I'm quite enjoying watching this evening because there's the method of how you're sort of twisting and moving and manipulating the brush to get the stroke of paint on the canvas that you're doing. It's just really nice to watch.
Oh, good. Okay, now I've got that pale colour on there. I'm going to go for some of this yellow. Not to turn that up. See how far we can go with it. There, that's going to have a bit of an edge on it. And here. The other thing I'm going to get to play with here is about where the colour gets turned up. So, is it too soon for that? No, I can do this, a bit of this here. I'm going to have a bit of brightness there, and it's going to wander down. Give me an edge on that petal. And into here. Yeah. That. A couple of these little streaky marks. Gonna work. Yeah. Orange in here. I haven't quite got the colour right with that green. I'm going to chuck some more yellow into it. Slightly more orangey yellow. If that does it. Yeah. Extra bit. Yeah, quite right. Just at the base of it. Give it a orangey outline. Okay. Most yellow this flower is in here. So that's kind of my extreme, and everything goes down from there. sort of top edges of things. A few of these frills going around as well. And it's going to go into a duller, more orange version underneath here, but only a little bit. That's still not enough, is it? A little bit greener. If I'm not happy with that, I might spatula it. Still a bit of that pale green to bring out of here. I'm doing its bit. Right, that's jumped the gun a bit there. That's too yellow now. These reflections need a bit of this blue back in there. They need to lighten up a bit. They also need to be less yellow. Yeah. Same thing here. Yeah, just doing. Well, that's a load of. Not at all sure about that. Now, a bit of texture in it. Run that up the edge of this. Put it on the top. Highlight times. We catch some light. Have a little bit on it. What about this? Getting pretty close now. Quite sure what's happening there, but never mind. Right, orange. Bit of extra colour just around these edges here. Dive straight into the chrome orange, but not afraid anymore. Now I can brighten that up. No. Some extra yellow in that. Nick in the corner. Here. Bit of that out. Yeah. Now, so some of these warm colours back in. That's too much. Okay, I'm going to take a moment and I'm going to put in these stalks and the bits and pieces. No, that's not it. Very intense colour to go in there.
Strikes me as a sort of prime painting for you to just continue fiddling and fiddling and fiddling with.
I could. Yeah, but I'm not going to.
Is that another thing for the kind of 2-hour slot? Is that it makes,
You can't fiddle too much.
if you limit yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there is a limit to how much I can do with this. Okay, that yellow coming through now. I'll tell you the next thing I can do. I'll get this blue. I'll make a lighter version of it. Too light. Like this. Once that's in, will my reflections look as light as they were? Might work for this. I have to be quite careful about this. This is definitely lighter underneath. And then here, right. And it's bluer. Yeah, and here it seems a bit more important. That lightens up. Maybe I'll break a few edges here. That's slightly less important. Maybe borrow a bit of blue back. No, not doing it. Darken this. Oh god, it's all going yellow. Hmm. Yeah. Darken it like that. Hmm. How are we doing with time?
We're at past.
Good. Cheeky, isn't it? Blob of purple in that. Yeah, that's good. I'm leaving that there. Here as well. Okay. This weird green colour. Just doing this with a brush mix now. Yeah, that works pretty well. No, I'm going to mix a bit more of that. Okay. A few greens here. Tiniest dab of thinners. Okay, do that. A little bit of the yellowy colour. Add more green. Bit of extra yellow. Okay, not bright enough. It'll do for up here. Do for over there. Yeah.
Only just with the few lines of the stalk, it then just brings the painting, makes your brain realise what they actually are.
Yeah. Have a couple of really. Oh, this is what I could really do with revisiting. Like getting another tube out. We can put in some extra shadow here. Oh, that's nice. A whole load along there. Little dash of it there. That'll do it. Have a red in that. Same in here. Yeah, so I've got this really, it's an odd colour. Peachy red colour. Just going to go on the inside of here. And trade off. Where else does that go? A little bit in there. All from the accent light. That's okay. Not doing it. I think I'm pretty close. While that's on there. Put that shadow back in that leaf. Something underneath of there. That will do for it. Still, have I got that? Oh, I could keep fiddling with this. Use slightly brighter yellows. A few places. There's a lemony yellow here. Pop a little dash in that. Mm-hmm. Okay, last bit. Got the bits of reflections and stuff. Right, definitely a bit fiddly now. Ah. I think it's there. I think that's probably enough, don't you?
Well, yeah, 'cause, I mean, you could continue fiddling and fiddling and fiddling with it,
I could.
but that's...
And I really want to. Are there any elements of this that really need to be worked on? No, I don't think so. If I was to do anything, it would probably be that. No, I've lost it a bit. Bring it back in with that. Yeah, these marks can get a little bit thicker. That's fine. What is it? I don't feel like I really got the sense of these overlaps. No, that's okay. If I do any more, I'm not going to make it any better. No, hang on. Just in here. No. That's got to be it. Yeah. No, okay. Still finding other little bits and pieces. Good place to stop. I'm going to officially stop there. Okay. Some of this dark coloured paint to sign it with. There we go. Aha. Right, no, I don't know if I need the polarizing filter on it now. Oh. Ah, oh, there it is. Can you see the shine appearing and disappearing?
Mm.
I can't see from there. I'll tell you one way to do it. Good.
Wow.
Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope that was entertaining. I'm seeing the things I'm going to fiddle with afterwards now. But it was entertaining for me. And yeah, I suppose I was telling myself some things when I started and then ended up doing others, but I guess I paint how I paint, and this is a part of it. So, but once it's in a little frame, I think that will look quite pleasant. I quite like them lying there as well, because these were the fallen daffodils. I didn't pick healthy ones. I picked the ones that had bent over. They'd all face planted into the grass around them. So I thought I'd give them a last hurrah.
A last hurrah. Well, maybe that's the name of the painting.
Last hurrah.
Last hurrah.
There you are.
Cool.
Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, just before we sign off, Laura has just piped back up saying looking good.
Oh, well, thank you for sticking around.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Or checking back on us, whichever it was. But I hope watching that sort of trundle along has been some entertainment for you, and yeah, reminded you only need a couple of hours if you want to make something. Just go and make it.
Yeah, amazing.
And then fiddle with it for an hour.
And never be entirely happy with it.
Yeah, exactly. That's just that's part and parcel. But no, I enjoy doing that, and I enjoy really getting stuck into looking at these things. Yeah, there's more to dig at here. So who knows what might come next? But yeah, I'll. That's the subject matter I'm looking at there. No. Yes, my.
Perfect. All right, we shall see you all next week.